Thales of Miletus, widely considered the world's first philosopher and even the world's first scientist, was born in Ionia in the 7th century BC. What makes Thales so incredibly important was his divorce from mythological thinking that completely dominated the era in which he lived. He instead became the first individual in Western civilization to engage in observation and empirical reasoning, and would go on to influence some of the most prominent philosophers in world history, like Anaximander and Aristotle. Thales believed that every event resulted from a natural cause that could be identified through observation and reason, and was not the result of the will of the gods. This meant that if events could be rationally understood and explained, they could also be predicted, which was an immense shift in human thought. Thales attempted to explain the entire universe in terms of a single ultimate substance. For Thales, this substance was water. He understood that water was essential to all life forms and that it existed in different forms. According to Thales, all things emerged from water and eventually returned to water. Thales must have been aware of the process of evaporation during his time and of the different ways in which water changes and moves. He even believed the earth to be the shape of a flat disk that floated on water, and even suggested that earthquakes are the result of the earth being rocked by waves. Now, of course, the conclusions of Thales were incorrect. However, what matters was his attempt to explain the universe in a rational and scientific way. Aside from his metaphysical endeavors, Thales also greatly contributed to the fields of mathematics and geometry. According to the legendary ancient Greek historian Herodotus, Thales was able to calculate the height of an Egyptian pyramid by measuring the length of his shadow and the length of the pyramid's shadow at the same time of the day. By applying the ratio of the difference, he was able to find the height of the pyramid. It is said that Thales was also able to determine the distance of a ship from its shore using various geometrical principles. Another incredible yet somewhat unbelievable accomplishment of Thales, according to Herodotus, was his correct prediction of a total solar eclipse which took place on March 28, 585 BC. This, however, is a bit controversial considering that it would have required Thales to identify an 18-year cycle in the movements of the sun and the moon. Some even credit Thales with the discovery of the 365-day year and the 4 seasons that occur during the calendar year. Nevertheless, it is evident that Thales was at the very least very active and influential in many domains of science. Thales thought there to be a single transcendental God. The 3rd century biographer Diogenes Laertius affirmed that Thales posed the independent pre-existence of God from all eternity, stating that God was the oldest of all beings, for he existed without a previous cause even in the way of generation. Doubts of whether or not Thales ever wrote anything down persist, and almost all of what we know of him was passed down by figures like Aristotle and Herodotus. Yet, what still remains is that Thales was truly the first person to grapple with questions regarding the substance of life. This made him the founder of the school of natural philosophy. His interest of reality knew no limits, and he greatly contributed to many areas of knowledge, including philosophy, astronomy, mathematics, geometry, history, engineering, and politics. His brave and fresh method of thinking about life completely paved the way towards further scientific discovery and then an eventual abandonment of justifying natural events through religious and godly intervention. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos similar to this.